Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me.
I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
She was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead.
Well, you start coming and they don't start coming. Head to the rules and hit the ground running. Did it make sense not to live for fun? Your brain gets smile, but your head gets down.
There's so much to do, so much to see, so what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if you don't go.
What?
You never shine if you don't glow.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get the game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break on my walls. That was a 1-minute intro where we sang the official song of Mystery Men.
Yeah, that's what people are going to remember it for.
I wish.
And that's what I remember it for.
I mean, that's where
if you watch the music
video, they have just clips of Mystery Men. I also like that the sound was just peaking the entire time.
Hey.
So it's going to just be like,
That's the effect.
Welcome back to Screen Weens, the official podcast of Mystery Men. I just rewatched that recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Do you think it holds up?
A lot of jokes that don't hold up.
I'm sure.
Which is really sad because I remember it being like one of my favorites. I still really like it. I still think it's really good. It's just not as brilliant as I once thought.
Yeah, comedy's like one of the things that like ages the absolute worst.
Well, especially comedy from late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, no, that's pretty wretched there.
Like, there's some stuff that's just, like, timeless. Like, there's some comedies you can watch from, like, the 20s and 30s that you're like, oh,
yeah. Like I said in our very first episode, I think, like, The Jerk is a timeless comedy. I think
The Jerk's pretty great. Like,
it's still pretty funny.
There's the one joke in it where,
I think I know what
Steve
joke
Martin,
you're talking about, and I personally love that.
I mean, I
think it's funny.
What, the part where when he says the N-word?
Yeah. I'll have you know I am.
I am Barack Obama. And then he tears off his mask, and it's actually Barack Hussein Obama. 45th?
4th?
40? Oh, he was the 4th president.
No, 44.
He was the 4th president of the United States.
So, yeah.
He was president before black people were no longer slaves.
That's impressive.
Yeah. He just wore whiteface.
I wish I could get angry at that.
The original white chicks.
But I can't.
White man. In the White House.
I don't know why I said I wish I could get angry at that. I really don't.
I wish I could get angry at black people, but the PC culture that these days just won't let me. That's what Thomas was trying to say. Anyway, so yeah, we watched a couple things. We watched, we'll be talking about the first episode of The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance.
Yes. We could probably, you didn't rewatch the actual movie, did you?
No, we're watching that tomorrow.
Well, I rewatched it, so.
Oh.
Woo!
You're watching it tomorrow.
What time are you guys
Or I'll just have it go first, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that for a bit. I watched the whole thing, so I'll have a little more discussion on the overall thing without spoilers. And then we're going to talk about the two movies, which was Dogtooth by Yorgos Lanthimos from 2009 and Sunset Boulevard by Billy Wilder in 1950.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thomas, what have you been up to this week? Seen anything else? Done anything else? One Piece. Still One Piece, then, I'm guessing.
No.
No, you're done with it. You got mad at the creator.
No. I got a little bummed out, and I put it on like a temporary hold. I don't know if anyone here really cares about anime or anime news, but Funimation, the company that dubs One Piece and dubs like a whole lot of Western anime over here.
The big shit, the the big controversy that's going on with them?
Which one? They've got like
There's
7
a
of them
bunch.
that they're jumping.
I remember there was just one that I was reading about where, like...
They had some audio leaks.
Yeah, the audio leaks in the studio. And
that seems to be the one...
And they're like, well, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah, that seems to be the one that's inflated the most, because they have like these like warm-up bloopers where they do some pretty offensive sketch comedy. Like there's one of Sean Schemmel and he says like faggot a lot. And it's like,
wow.
You know,
Thomas just used the word. And he's not even gay. As a member of the LGBTQ AAA society, I banned Thomas from existence.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I gave him the pass.
Yeah, I got the... I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say the fag pass, but I don't want to say it.
You just said it!
Well, okay, you can cut it out. I don't care.
I'm not doing it.
All right, leave it in. I've got a fag pass.
All right.
I don't care. I mean, I don't... obviously, I'm using it mostly contextual here. Aside from the 2 and about to be 3 times that I said fag.
Don't say it again! Yeah, so that's a little yikes. I know they're like the biggest thing that they're having trouble with is the new Dragon Ball Z game that's about to come out, because they recorded a bunch of stuff for that, and they're like, do we re-record it with other people or do we release it? Yeah, so just kind of like the Spark Notes version of what led to me getting bummed out and stopped reading One Piece is so Vic Mignogna is a voice actor. Evil. That's an evil guy.
Yeah, personally, I'm not part of the I Stand With Vic crowd. I think
my girlfriend's met Vic Mignogna.
Oh.
Yeah. She just told me that like an hour ago, or 2 hours ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What a weird coincidence.
Well, we were talking about this.
I know, what a weird coincidence that it just like comes back up again. Oh, wait. Well, I guess it makes sense with me, because I'm always talking about weeb shit.
Yeah. Vic Mignogna. You're always like, I don't stand for Vic Mignogna because I'm sitting for him while I suck his cockle.
I don't think he'd appreciate that very much, because I'm pretty sure he's,
Because you're not an underage girl.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so... based on that context, there's like a lot of like accusations from fans and voice actors that Vic Mignogna is a creepy sex pervert. Nobody wanted to work with him anymore. And
like there's something like 17 like big allegations against him or something.
There was more than that.
Well, like 17 that I think were like planning to go to court or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but
a lot. I'm gonna eat some cake now.
Go ahead. I'll talk for a minute.
Okay.
So basically, that came out like quite a few months ago, and he's been suing Funimation because they fired him, and he got fired by not just Funimation. He got fired by like basically everywhere he worked for. Like Rooster Teeth fired him too, but he's suing Funimation for...
He's a little bitch.
Yeah, for basically like slandering his name because he's sticking to his story that he's he didn't do any of the things he's being accused of. And in this, somebody who was on the voice actor for Android 17, who I think was speaking for the side of Vic in the trials, addressed some rumors about Chris Sabat, who does like the voice of like Vegeta. He like basically anything dubbed by Funimation, he has had a heavy hand in. And he does like the voice of Zoro in One Piece.
Antonio Banderas?
Yeah.
Who's Zoro again?
Zoro is the one with the green hair who has 3 sword styles. So he's got the sword in his mouth and the 2 in his hands.
Okay.
But yeah, he was accused of doing some like Weinstein-esque shit where he trades sexual favors for roles. And there really hasn't been much out on it yet. I've been like reading the articles and trying to stay up to date because I'm a big Chris Sabat fan, and if it is true, that is very...
will not be a Chris Sabat thing. At least of the person.
Yeah, I will be very brokenhearted because I've been a huge fan of him for years. He basically dubbed like half the cast of the original Dragon Ball series. Like he's the voice of Shenron, Piccolo, Vegeta.
Jesus.
Like he voiced like half the characters.
Well,
no joking. And it's just like, that's so sad if it's true. I really hope it's not. But at this point, I'm kind of on like standby mode where I'm just kind of emotionally prepping for any more information that'll come out.
You just gotta remember, just because like an actor does a good job doesn't mean they're not a piece of shit in real life.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like I said, I'm willing to hear out this like both sides of the story and just kind of take my own like. Not interpretation. It's not like if he's like proven, I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to interpret that he didn't do this and just enjoy him anyway. But kind of get because there are people who's like I said, there's a huge
Me and you should redub a bunch of the Funimation dubs. I've been thinking about it because I really like the dub for Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
But if I just isolated all of Edward's lines, took them out, and I'll redub them.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, because that is like a quality dub. Like, it's what I consider
like,
to be
I personally
the best
prefer
dubs.
the dub to the sub. I don't usually... sometimes I do. Like, I prefer the dub for, like, Gurren Lagann as well.
Yeah, there are dubs out there that I think are just as good as the subs. Of course, like, fans who are, like, strictly sub-only won't admit that. I'm someone who will do either.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a good dub, I'll usually, like, check it out at least. I might not, like, watch the entire show dubbed if I've already seen it subbed, and vice versa if I, like... find a show and I'm like, hey, this dub's kind of tolerable and I'm in the mood to watch like an English series right now, I might like do that. But
I only listen to French dubs. With Japanese subs. So I don't know what's happening.
See, that's the true way to do it.
That's the big brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Because you can just... it's all up to your own interpretation.
Okay, so because of Chris Sabat, you took a break from One Piece.
Yeah, because I was reading the manga and I can only hear his voice coming from one of the main characters, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't do this." So I started reading My Hero. Now,
Academia?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was a new one. My Hero, where he's like a book teacher, a bookstore attendant.
Now, to be fair, Chris Sabat voices All Might in that.
Oh shit!
But I don't really like the anime version of that show very much.
Yeah.
So
my
I'm not
roommate showed it
partial
to me, and I is the manga pretty good? Because I thought that I would give the series so far what I've watched like maybe a 5.
So I read.
I know people like love it, and I'm just like, I don't get it. It's kind of bad.
I read
There's
it.
some cool animation occasionally, but it's kind of bad.
I read it weekly.
Mm-hmm.
When it like first came out, because I had a feeling I'm like, this is going to be like the next big shonen.
Yeah.
And I think I was kind of right. I don't think Black Clover really sizes up next to it.
Black Clover, send Obama over.
And then I kind of dropped off of it, and then I picked up on the anime and I watched the first 2 seasons. And I think personally, I'm a bit biased because I just prefer manga in general. It tends to have better pacing, in my opinion.
I prefer Gurren Lagann to the manga, the show to the manga.
That makes a great amount of sense, seeing as that's an anime original. It was designed for the anime. The manga is notoriously bad for that.
I haven't read it.
Yeah, it's not very good from what I hear.
Nice.
I haven't read it, though, so I can't say for certain. But, yeah, so I've been doing some My Hero reading, and I'm enjoying it. I haven't, like, progressed any further than I ever have before. But I think it's a much lighter read in the manga, and I don't have to, like, drag through terrible anime pacing.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I can just read at my own speed and enjoy. And I've got my problems with it still, but I'm enjoying it far more than I enjoy the anime. I'll say that.
Cool.
I just don't like the style that the anime brings to it. It's not like
I just don't like
for it.
any of the characters or the plot.
Yeah, it's very cookie cutter shonen. Main character who's got confidence issues. His hot-headed rival.
Man, I was so excited from the first episode, though, because I thought the show was going to be about this guy who had no powers.
No, me too.
And I'm like, this would have been dope. And then the end of the first episode, and I don't
From what I hear, there is a spin-off series called, like, Vigilantes that has that premise. And from what I've heard just of, like, my friend group, not from Joe, but from, like, Manny and them, I think Manny said that he enjoys the Vigilante manga better than he enjoys, like, the actual straight manga. So it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not even, like, mad necessarily that they, like, gave him All Might's powers or whatever. This is spoilers for the first episode, so fuck you.
Yeah.
I just wanted him, like, maybe, like, a season, at least, of him without powers.
Yeah.
To really nail it in, like, yeah, he's learned his whole life to cope without powers. And I was like, doing it, fuck you.
See, I could get behind that, but I would only want them to do that if they were going to,
or like
stick to it.
End of the series, like the series finale, he gets powers. It's like a nice little ending, like, oh, look at me. I'm a shitty doodoo thing.
Yeah. From what I hear, though, because I stopped, I like
Todoroki's dad. No, well, I don't like him. He's an asshole. But he has a cool design.
Yeah, you like to hate the
Todoroki,
character.
I like his design, too.
Yeah, I like the concept behind Todoroki without, like, getting too deep into, like, spoilers. I like the idea that, like, in this world where, like, the majority of people have, like, superpowers, that you can do, like, selective
Pokemon
breeding to, like, breed, like, the perfect superhero. Like, I think that's a really interesting concept.
I like to imagine Todoroki is the son of... Have you seen Sky High?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Well, the main guy, one of the main guys in it that's, like, kind of like the antagonist during the first half, but he's like, no, I'm a good guy. He's like, his name's Warren Peace.
Yeah, I remember you. You were talking about Sky High the other night.
Yeah, I talk about Sky High every day. He shoots fire, but at the end of the movie, like, as he like goes to dance with the lady and she has ice powers. I'm like, whoa, it's Todoroki's mom and dad.
Oh, nice. So yeah, I heard that, like, Season 3's material is really great. Like, I hear that's where it really starts to ramp up.
Yeah, I think I watched the first, like, 6 episodes and then I stopped. So I'll eventually finish Season 3, especially because Season 4 is coming out soon. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to just read the manga for a little bit.
Maybe I just hate anime. I
got this Shonen Jump app, which I'm not fucking trying to sponsor them, but it's a pretty good app.
It's a Shonen Jump app,
$2 a month, and you can, like, basically read, like, their entire fucking
$2 a month?
Yeah. And I was like,
wow. Shonen Jump, if you pay us $3 a month, you can sponsor us.
But yeah, so I've got, like...
And free unlimited Bleach manga.
Yeah, I can, if I want to, look, I can click, go over, I can read any of Bleach.
You can watch Bleach.
I can't, well, I could if I, like, went to an anime site or something.
Netflix, Hulu.
Is it on those?
Netflix has the first 3 seasons, Hulu has the first 7, I think. Anyway.
I can read all
He's
Bleach.
reading manga right now. He's reading Bleach. Anyway, did you watch anything else?
The movies.
The movies.
And, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my week.
I watched a couple things. I'm not really going to get into most of them because they all were shitty. I watched a lot of shitty stuff this week.
Like every week.
Like every week. But it seemed more so. No, maybe not. Let's see. Anything I want to really say? I watched Heathers for the first time.
Oh, yeah?
That was alright. Kind of dated.
Mm-hmm.
But it was enjoyable. Mr. Slater and Miss Ryder were pretty good in it. I liked their back and forth. Their chemistry was pretty good. But kind of forgettable. Sorry, Heathers fans. I've heard the musical's really good. There's a stage musical of it.
I know.
I also watched The Details, which was like, it was labeled as like a comedic drama, but it was mostly just like a weird drama. It had Tobey Maguire in it, so I watched it. Came out in like 2011. It was about like this guy who like is trying to kill raccoons, and I'm just going to tell you the real quick plot. It'll take like 1 minute. He's trying to kill raccoons, accidentally poisons his neighbor's cat. While he's doing this, he fucks his, like, friend. I just farted. He fucks his friend. He's cheating on his wife. Only the one time. But then, the friend's husband finds out, and he confronts him about this at his job. He's a doctor. And right as he's confronting him about Tobey Maguire being an asshole, the neighbor comes in. And you know how he was trying to poison the raccoons? Her cat died from the poison. So she's coming in to confront him, but then finds out that he's cheating. So she's like, ah! So then she goes home and he's like, oh shit, she's gonna tell my wife. So he goes after her. And she threatens to tell the wife unless they fuck. So she forces him.
Yeah.
It's very gross. So they fuck. She gets pregnant. And he's like, shit, what am I going to do? And he feels awful. He feels like he's a terrible person. And he wants to do something good. So he's friends with the progressive guy. Or no, not the progressive guy. The State Farm guy, I think. One of the guy who's always like, on the commercial.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's friends with that guy, and he has a really bad kidney, and he has a bunch of diseases. So Tobey Maguire's just like, I'll give you my kidney. So he does. And he gets honored, and then he goes and he vents to this guy, because he's like his best friend. He's like telling him about this lady, and he tells him about this dream he had, where somebody kills her with a bow and arrow.
Is it
No, it's not Nicolas Cage in The Wedding Man. We were talking about Nicolas Cage earlier. So then, his friend, who he gave the kidney to, thinks that he wants him to kill her. So he kills her with a bow and arrow.
Oh, nice.
And then Tobey Maguire's like, oh shit. And then he like confronts his wife, and he's like, I'm sorry, I cheated on you twice, and I got somebody pregnant, and then I accidentally killed somebody. And he's like, and she's like, I've been cheating on you too. And it's like, what? It's like, whoa. And then they decide not to tell on the guy who killed her, because she was kind of evil anyway. And then the movie ends.
This movie sounds like a fucking mess.
It is, but I enjoyed it. It was weird, but it was funky. It wasn't great, but I enjoyed my time with it.
By a mess, I mean just like extremely just chaotic and unorganized, not necessarily bad. But holy shit.
And the only other one I want to talk about is I watched Hail Satan, which came out this year, which is about the Satanic Church.
Okay.
Which is the group of people that they don't believe in Satan. Like most of them are atheists, and they're just like, we're gonna fuck with the Christians, pretty much. Like most of the plot revolved around how they would go to places like government buildings, like town halls that had erected like the Constitution or not the Constitution, the 10 Commandments in front of it, and they'd be like, okay, if you can do this, then we want to build a statue of Baphomet here.
Ah.
So they'd be like, either take it down or show that you embrace cultural diversity
One
or
of the things,
religious diversity. And it was really funny.
one of the things I wish I did in high school, I wish I would have started like an atheist club.
I mean, I get the idea, but it's also like really pretentious.
No, that's just, I mean, not really. Because, I mean, if I was like, alright guys, atheist club, let's get together and just shit talk Christians and God all day, yes. But
I like the idea when
But
looking at the context of where you lived, where you still
no, that is a big reason
Yeah.
why, just simply because I know that my school never would have allowed it.
and then you would be like, what the fuck?
And then I could have been like, hey guys, I'm going to take this higher up and see how far I
I'm
can
taking
go.
it to God!
I want your God to explain to me why I can't have an atheist club.
But it was pretty good. It was fun.
I tried to start a horror movie club.
And they shut it down.
Yeah, they didn't allow that.
They said, no, this is anti-religious.
No, I don't remember.
Should have been like, our first movie is Antichrist.
It was literally like my first week in high school.
Oh.
It was before I got into like theater or anything. I got into theater quickly after that.
And they're like, oh, finally, my people, my peers. Okay.
You want to talk about The Dark Crystal?
No, I want to hear your movie idea.
Oh, god damn. Okay.
Or would you like to hear mine first?
Yeah, go for it.
Did you see Bandersnatch? The Black Mirror? The one, the like choose your own adventure?
I did like, I got like part way into it.
Okay. Well, I think that, I don't know how this would work, but I would really love, this would be more like, I guess, a social experiment as well. But I would like to make like a big, like, whodunit kind of experience, like a horror, maybe like a slasher film that it works best in like a big group, like a theater. Like people go to it and everybody like maybe has an app on their smartphone. And at certain places, at certain crossroads, you choose what to do. Like kind of like an interactive video game. Or I really like blending it because video games always tried to mirror films and some, or have been trying to mirror films, and they've gotten to the point where they're like getting there. Mm. And now with like things like Bandersnatch and like Choose Your Own Adventure books have always been, they're all sort of coming into like a convergence. Yeah. And I really would like to do something with that. So just like a horror movie, like a slasher film where you play like the main character. It's not like first person because most of those are pretty bad. Most first person movies are pretty bad. And it'd be hard to do one of those, but you're just like watching this one person. Let's call her Karen. Okay. And, honestly, I would really love it if it was something like Cabin in the Woods. Like, remember when they go down in the cellar? Yeah. And there's a bunch of stuff that is available. Something like that. Like, the big thing that happens is, like, there's a bunch of different options, and whatever you choose, like, drastically changes the outcome. I just think that would be really cool. Also, it would take a very long time to make. Yeah. But I feel like we're going to get something like that sooner or later. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm surprised we haven't gotten more already. Seems Bandersnatch is fairly popular. Yeah. Like, a lot of people were talking about it when I hit the scene. 5 times? Just to make sure I got everything? Or 4? I think 4. Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't really... it was more of like a concept that I wanted to share more than an idea, but it was on my mind like all last night. Like, I want to do this, but it would be really hard to do with current technology, at least like the way that films are like taken into a theater. It would more likely have to be streamed into a theater. Like, it'd have to have a weird setup. You'd have to have a certain code for like the room that you're streaming in, and people like, or their smartphones are hooked up to that certain code. But I think it would be worth it to have that kind of big experience where people are voting for stuff and like, ooh,
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting idea.
So, David Lynch, maybe it's finally time to put aside your anti-phone policy and really bring the phone into the film.
Watching a movie on your fucking telephone? Get real. I love David Lynch.
Yeah. Okay, what's your movie idea?
Alright. Think...
Oh, I like it.
Okay, so imagine like a young, down on his luck opportunist inherits or gets his hand on an extremely cheap church. And he kind of from like the ground up starts like this like really big church that gets a lot of people coming to it. And think of like Wolf of Wall Street x this like religious movie that's not really religious, because I picture the main character
God's not dead.
Not religious, or more on the agnostic side where he's like, I don't really care about a god. I just kind of want to milk these people who are obviously in search of something greater and use that to my advantage type deal. And
so he's like 14 and he starts an atheist club at school.
Yes, that's where it starts. And then he's like, the school's like, no, you can't start an atheist club. He's like, fine, I'll start a church instead.
The Church of Atheists.
No, it's a regular Christian church. And then he just takes all the communion money and
so like
lives
church.
a fine life. Yeah, exactly.
Got him. All the church going folks are going to be mad at me.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Whatever will we do? They're gonna pray our souls to hell.
And now it's time for a new segment. What
is this new segment?
Answering your questions.
We have questions.
You ask them, we're answering them. If you want to ask another question, don't forget to comment on this video.
Who left a question, Pierre?
From Pierre DePoya.
Yeah, that's...
Hey, I'm emailing in because I want to be the first person read on the podcast. My question is, do you think that Nicolas Cage would ever appear in an expanded universe movie like the MCU or Star Wars, for example?
Yes. He was in Ghost Rider.
He was in Ghost Rider. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they brought that Ghost Rider back. I don't think the movies were very good, but I thought he was fun in them.
Yeah, I think people have enough of an idea of just like his origin that they could just pick up with, hey, I'm Ghost Rider, I'm somewhere in the middle of my career. I sold my soul to the devil and now I hunt ghosts.
Yeah, honestly, I would also love to see him in Star Wars in some capacity. Like, that'd be really fun, even as like a cameo. And I mean, like, he'll do. I know he likes working with like independent people more, but like he does big stuff still. He was in Into the Spider-Verse, like,
yeah.
So I would love to see him in that. Like other universe pictures, I can't. Because the two big cinematic universes right now are Star Wars and MCU. And to a lesser extent, the DC Extended Universe. Or, is that what it is? Was that what it's called? The DC?
People call it the DCEU.
But is it extended or is it expanded or is it...
Personally, I wouldn't call it either of those. I mean, I don't know why they call it DCEU. Why isn't it just called
DCU? That's my question.
Yeah, I would either call it DCU or DCCU.
Oh, because DCU is the video game. And also the streaming service.
DCCU.
See you.
See you.
But I would bring him back as Superman. Live action. Let's do it.
I would not be upset.
Let's do it there. Star Wars, I would love to see him play, I don't know. Palpatine.
What if in episode 9, Kylo Ren and Rey have a baby?
It's Nicolas Cage.
And it's a little baby Nicolas Cage, and they just like transpose his head onto like a little baby, and he's got like a full, like kind of like the George Lopez show. Whenever they would like show him as a kid, and he'd have like his normal sized head on like the kid body, be like that, but Nicolas Cage. And we can get a sequel where he's like 6 and he's learning the ways of the Force and he's still got a really big head in comparison to his body. And then you can just get a whole series of movies following this character.
You still haven't seen Far From Home, right?
I have not.
Okay. This isn't really a spoiler. Do you mind if I say this? You already know the big spoilers.
Okay.
At one point, he doesn't want people to know that, like, Spider-Man's there. So he has a different suit on, and the black suit. You've seen that. And I think he calls himself, like, the Night Monkey or something. And what I'm saying is that that character isn't tied to Spider-Man necessarily. So because Sony and Disney, their deal's broken off right now, I'm saying and Nicolas Cage could play him.
There we go. We got it. All right, Pierre.
Star Wars, I just figured out. Rian Johnson's trilogy that he's going to make, let's just have Nicolas Cage play the, like, main character.
Yeah.
Kyle Katarn. You don't know who that is?
No.
We're going to be talking about him later.
Okay.
In the other video, we're going to have some videos out sometime. I don't know if they're out yet. Probably not, but don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, I'll try to have
this one out by this time. No, just kidding. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh yeah, we have another hour left of the podcast.
Yeah. By the way, a little off note. You can cut this out. You can leave this in. I don't fucking care. I'll try to have that at least one of the videos edited by time we record next week.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
Yeah. Because once I get in the rhythm of editing,
I'm hacking.
I can edit a video in
7 seconds.
7 hours, more like.
7 seconds. You're just paste, export.
And there we go. I edited the video.
I mean, that's most of what I do on this. I'll listen to the whole thing. Yeah. I'll have to do some audio adjustments. But most of the time, anytime I try to, make something a little shorter, I'm just now it just doesn't sound authentic. It sounds like I just sound like a...
See, I don't know if I could handle audio editing, specifically. I mean, I could. I don't think I'd, turn to dust or anything or, be unable to do it. But I really enjoy video editing.
I do, too.
I get joy out of just seeing it come together, and it's yes.
Come together right now over my dad. All right. I'm leaving that all in. That was a great conversation.
I'm sure the audience will appreciate
I'm going to boost the audio really high, too. So it's you can't even hear us. We're just
help!
Right. I need somebody.
Help!
I just everybody.
Help!
I need someone.
Help!
When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now those days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and opened up the door.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
We're getting copyright strikes for this.
Yeah.
For sounding so similar to Ringo.
Yeah. George Harrison.
And George Lucas.
Yeah.
The Beatles a little bit better if George Lucas was in them.
Compared to Ringo, I agree.
Fuck you, Ringo's the best Beatle. We should watch Caveman.
Caveman?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a movie that Ringo plays a caveman in.
Huh.
He's the main character, Caveman.
I haven't seen it, but that Hard Day's Night movie, apparently when it came out, critics were Ringo is such a great actor. There's one scene in the movie where his character is trying to That's
why it was in Caveman, I think.
Oh, nice. But the critics are there's this one scene in the movie where he displayed such just emotions of despair and sadness, but he was just hungover when they shot the scene.
That's really funny.
Yeah. We gotta watch that eventually.
I saw it. I've only seen that Beatles movie. I remember liking it, But that was when I was really into the Beatles.
The only Beatles movie I've seen is The Yellow Submarine.
The animated one?
Mm-hmm.
Is it any good?
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so probably not. But there are things in that movie that are just so like iconic that I love. Like I love the blue meanies. I love that they like drop green apples that turn people into like gray, sad people. Like it's such a
Apple
weird,
a day
trippy
keeps
movie.
this happiness away.
Yeah. Don't eat apples; they'll make
I keep
you depressed.
farting. All right. So we did our movie ideas. We did our questions.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to just jump into the next segment, which is the new other segment that I just came up with. Watch Thomas give a rim job to a homeless person.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the prequel series, directed by the director of The Incredible Hulk, Clash of the Titans, and Now You See Me, and The Transporter 1 and 2. So that's kind of fun. I like one of those movies. I like The Incredible Hulk. I don't think it's great, but I like it. I used to like Now You See Me, like when it came out in theaters. I'm like, magicians? I'm like, Mark Ruffalo, magician man?
Mark Ruffalo is a selling point.
Yeah. But, so Thomas, what did you think of the first episode?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Like, not, like, good, but I don't think it was offensively bad, just kind of really standard and generic. And I rewatched the movie, which I hadn't seen in years. And the movie is also a little generic. So I was just kind of like, Dark Crystal is not as great as I remember it. But I still really, like, just talking about the original movie, I'm not going to get into, like, spoilers or anything here, because it's a sequel to this prequel series that just hit Netflix. So watch the series first, then the movie, I guess?
No, watch the movie first.
Okay, yeah, watch the movie first. Yeah, I guess that would make sense, because there will be things that are explained in the movie that just might be like...
Yeah, watch the movie first. That's...
Like the fact that gelflings have wings and boys don't. That's explained in like the original movie. And they just kind of... You might not get that if you watch this, if you just see girls playing.
No, they say it on the second episode, I think. They say stuff, but I would still, from watching the entire series, I would say watch the movie first.
Okay. The thing that I enjoyed most about the original movie is probably the atmosphere, the puppetry, and I like the inherent, like, concept of, like, the Skeksis and, like, taking, like, the life force with the Dark Crystal. Like, I like all of that, but there are definitely some pretty hokey, generic things in there. I'm not a big fan of the two main characters. They're kind of plain.
In the movie?
In the movie.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, they're just kind of there. And I think that they're also, like, the worst looking puppets in the movie.
The Gelflings, yeah. I think the Gelflings look better in the series, definitely.
And now moving on to the series.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm definitely probably going to watch the rest of it. But yeah, I'm not super crazy about it so far. I think it's a little goofier than the original movie was. Like, the original movie has its goofy moments, but it's not like... I feel like it's a lot more subtle, its goofiness.
I mean, I think it might just be like the first episode. I watched the show pretty much in 2 sittings. Like, I watched the first 5 episodes, and then I watched the second 5 episodes.
Okay.
So it would, but I think it matches the tone pretty well. I think it just takes a little longer to even out in its goofiness, but I like rewatched The Dark Crystal. You will just rewatch it. I rewatched it like a couple months ago. Like it hasn't been too long. And personally, I love the movie. I think it's like one of my favorite examples of like world building, like through showing. Like I love the atmosphere, like you said, and I love the puppetry, but just like all the little creatures you see in the backgrounds and like, I agree that I think the story itself, the storytelling is a little bland, and I think the main two characters are a little bland.
Yeah, I don't think The Dark Crystal is bad by any means. I just think the two main characters are kind of boring.
Yeah, no, and I can agree with that. I still really love it, and I wish I could love it more, because I love the like look of it and stuff. And then the show, I love. I know you said you didn't.
Yeah.
Love. I can say very easily that out of the three things we watched this week, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance was my favorite. I can also say that The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance might be one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, okay.
Now, I really love puppets, and anything with puppets kind of just makes me go. But, like, I really love the atmosphere. I really love the story in it. I think the storytelling is really, really good. The puppetry's, like, insane.
Yeah.
There's so I watched the entire thing, and then right afterwards, there's a companion documentary that came out called The Crystal Calls, the making of the Age of Resistance or whatever. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, and it focuses pretty much solely on the puppetry, and it's fantastic. It's a great documentary.
I've got one question. You don't give me any, like, plot details,
Okay.
but do you see there being more Dark Crystal series? Because I know it's a prequel series. Does it, like, lead right up to the first movie? Does it, like...
I mean, I don't think that's really a spoiler, me saying no.
Okay.
No, it doesn't go right up to the movie.
Okay.
So,
do
like,
you see there being more content taking place in between?
I think if it does good enough that they'll probably do a season 2.
Does it like wrap up its story pretty tightly?
No, it leaves it pretty open. Well, and the thing is, you got to remember that like the Skeksis that are in the show are the Skeksis in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, and so they have to like.
I think there's like one or two that aren't.
Yeah, there's a couple, but for the most part, there's Simon Pegg plays the Chamberlain.
Oh, okay.
He's brilliant.
Like, yeah, I really like
he's really good. And the scientist, that's Mark Hamill.
I was able to tell. I was like,
you know,
I heard that voice. I'm like, I remember.
He sounds like Sun Snatcher in Brigsby Bear. Which is Mark Hamill.
Because I was listening to this, I'm like, this is Mark Hamill from Brigsby Bear.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying he was in the show. I'm like, yeah, that's
there's the voice cast is pretty like a big like Jason Isaacs is the Emperor. Taron Egerton is Rand.
Okay.
There's some pretty big names. I was like, what the flippity dippity? But yeah, I loved the series. I was blown away, but I like more like hokey things. I liked it because it was a little hokey. It reminded me of like, I think I messaged you this. I'm like, this is just Lord of the Rings with puppets, and I'm loving it. Because there's a lot of things that remind me of Lord of the Rings. There's like standoffs, and I'm like, is this the battle at Helm's Deep?
I think a big part of the turnoff for me in particular is the direction's pretty bad. Like, I don't like much of the shots.
I love, there's maybe...
There are some shots that they show, like, there might be like a landscape shot or something, where I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good, and then it'll be on the screen for like dot, 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 and then it's gone, and it's like, that could have like breathed maybe a little more. Maybe it's just the first episode, like...
Maybe.
But, yeah, I don't like the editing. Like, I don't like... It cuts around a lot. I don't like how clean it looks.
I like the cleanliness of the shot, especially because, like, as the show goes on, it kind of becomes dirtier.
Okay.
And I like it because it's supposed to be cleaner than, like, the original movie. Because, like, everything, the beginning's supposed to be, like, this, like, paradise. So I just like it in the sense that I'm like, hey. And I think I got more used to the direction and the editing because, like, the guy who directed it, he did all 10 episodes, which is pretty big to do, like, 10 hours, like, directing. So it felt, with a lot of, like, episodic things, it can feel a little disjointed. And that's why TV series I'm sometimes a little iffy on, especially, like, because they can feel like they were directed by different people. But it felt like a big cohesive thing to me. So maybe I got used to it.
Twin Peaks Season 3, every episode is
directed by me.
Lynch.
By me? But there's some really, 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 like, good shots that I liked throughout the series. Maybe the first episode was a little rough. I don't, like, everything just blended together as, like, one big movie to me. I'm like, this is... So, I'll probably rewatch it within, like, the next couple months, so.
Yeah, I'll probably, like, watch, like, an episode here and there.
But I really love the world of the Dark Crystal, so I knew I was gonna, like, probably love it no matter what. Like, just because I'm inherently in love with the world, so I'm like, oh no. Yeah. I can also say that I like the show more than the movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely keep watching. I don't want to judge it just based off.
Were you introduced to Hup? The podling?
Mm-hmm.
He has a spoon?
No.
Oh, fuck, dude. Okay, it's not a spoiler, but he's the best character.
Okay.
He's one of the best. He's amazing. Simon Pegg as the Chamberlain is amazing, and also Deet is a great character.
Yeah, I think Deet is the one that I was, like, the most, I guess, pleased with in terms of...
I do think... I was a little worried about Rianne being...
Yeah, I didn't...
But I do like Rianne.
I didn't like him or his plot up until, like, the last, like, 5 minutes of the episode when his sort of call to adventure happens.
Yeah. That's the one thing I was a little iffy on the first episode, but I do think his plot's pretty good.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna watch at least, like, one more episode to see how, like, where the truth... Because, obviously, from what I can pick up, Rianne and Deet are going to team up together, I assume, to save, or try to save, I guess, seeing as the movie
There's
exists.
a big rock.
It's a big rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just wanted to let you know. He's pretty cool.
Like Dwayne?
I mean, he could be played by Dwayne, probably.
But yeah, like, I don't know. It kind of same gripes that I have with, like, the original movie, like, pretty, like, just generic in terms of, like, fantasy story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't, like, walk away from it going, wow, I've never seen, like, do anything like that before. But, yeah, it just kind of lukewarm. Like, I don't, like, hate it.
Well, if you do end up finishing it, you should watch the documentary afterwards.
I probably will. I'll probably just watch it simply for the puppetry alone. One more thing I want to mention.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to the puppetry, though. I don't like the way the Gelflings look in the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're, like, the worst puppets in the original movie. Very stiff. And I was like, especially when you compare them to, like, the Skeksis and, what's the name of the three-eyed woman? Agra.
Yeah.
Especially compared to Agra. Agra is probably, like, my favorite.
They talk about that. Did you like them more in the series?
Slightly. I don't like, Rian? I don't like his kind of group, but I kind of liked the look of, Deet a little more. She had, like, darker eyes and looks less human. Because I think that's my biggest problem is I get a bit of a uncanny valley because Gelflings are pretty much just fucking little elves with wings, from what I can gather.
Well, they actually talk about why they look so, like, stiff in the original movie and the documentary. It's because, like, because they're so small, and back then they had to put their hand in them, so they couldn't do a lot of movement. But the newer ones, they have like animatronics in them, so they're doing all the facial expressions with like a joystick and stuff. Okay. So they can express, like, they're pretty expressive in the show. Like, they're like, whoa.
Yeah, I think it looks better than it does in the movie, but it's still, some of them looked a little too stiff for my particular. And
they also show, like, how they do the Skeksis. It's like two people in a suit, and they're like, yeah. Oh, brilliant.
There was, like, one shot in the first episode where they show Rian running from the Skeksis, and, like, his legs, it literally looks like they, like, just grabbed the puppet from, like, the top of the head, and were just, like, dragging it across the floor.
Maybe I just love puppets so much that I'm just like perfect. There's a part where somebody drags a puppet by its head, and it's just like, this is amazing.
I like shit like that, but something like that works much better in like a comedic like thing, like the Muppets, for instance, where you're not meant to take it as seriously. But the tone that they like try to get across, where it's like, oh, there's actual stakes in this story, and there's like actual like world building and setup, and goofy puppets, and it's just like it kind of shatters the illusion just a bit, like takes me out of it a little bit. But I enjoy puppets, and yeah, I'll probably end up watching the rest of it.
I'm gonna get a puppet
for the puppets. Oh yeah, no, I've got.
You have a puppet? Can I have it?
I've got. Well, no, you can't have it. When I was a kid, I went to the fair.
Can I have it?
No. But I went to the fair, and there was like this lady who built like little like Muppet rip-off puppets. And it was like the coolest thing ever, because like they were obviously like, pretty expensive, and it was just me and my mom at the fair. And
I stole one.
No, I was just like up, and I was like, looking at the puppets, I was like, whoa, I love puppets! And the lady's, my mom's like, yeah, no. And the lady's like, when's your birthday, boy? And it was actually like right around the corner from that point, like a month away. And she's like, well, if you guys like write down your address for me, you know, I can mail you a birthday puppet for free. She did. And I got like a free puppet. And he's a little tore up. I had him when I was a kid. Like some of the seams have come undone, but it was like cool to have that. And I was just like, oh, that's neat. And I've got like other puppets. Like I had a couple ventriloquist dummies when I was a kid.
Let's make some puppet movies.
I don't have ventriloquist dummies still, but I'd be down to make some puppet movies.
Let's do it.
You still 1 month from now,
puppet. There'll be a puppet movie. There'll be a 10-minute puppet short on the channel 1 month from now. Mark my words.
Don't mark those words.
1 month from a week from now, which will be when this podcast goes out. That'll be, yep.
Hit that subscribe button. I know that at some point in the future there will be
1 month from now. All right. Would we like to talk about Sunset Boulevard?
I would love to.
You hated it.
I loved it.
Yeah. No, I did too. This movie's great. Very funny.
What did you know about this movie before?
All I knew is like it was very critically acclaimed. Like I know Roger Ebert gave it like a perfect score, which he did to a lot of films, but usually his 4 out of 4, I'm like, oh, I should probably see that. I don't really care if he like gives a movie a bad score, but like if he gives something a really good score. Well, he's also dead. I'd be like, oh, that's probably good. But all I knew, and I knew Billy Wilder was like a big name, and I hadn't seen any of his films. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, Sunset Boulevard sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah. I knew about this movie. I had, years ago, I watched like a review on it that didn't have really much for spoilers. It just kind of went over the basic plot. But they did show the end scene in that review, and that was like one of the things that stuck with me. So like, I knew like I knew like how the film ended, like the final shot and shit. Yeah. But I have always seen like the pool thing referenced in like The Simpsons, and American Dad does it in an episode.
Your 2 favorite shows?
Yeah, my 2 favorite shows. I like The Simpsons. I don't like American Dad anymore. I did when I was like 12, but seems today. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, I know. I was about to start singing it, and then I still was like, in my head, I'm like, wait, no, that's not. What are the lyrics? The American, a wonderful day, the sun in the sky,
smile
on my face, and I love to run in the race. That's not it.
And I'm Stan Smith, and I'm part of the white nationalist race. Hey! Yeah, that sounds
I'm
right.
Roger, the alien.
But, yeah, and I had no idea that was from this movie. So when the movie started with that, I was like, oh, that's what this is from. Cool. And then I sat down, and the next 2 hours was pure ecstasy. Because I was like, if this happens with like every movie I start, even if I know it's a good movie, I'll like sit down, I'll be like, I don't know if I really want to like start this movie quite yet. Like I'll procrastinate a lot. And then like once I get like 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh shit, I can't put this fucking movie down. But yeah, no, it was great. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I thought
I really did too. So the plot begins with our main character dead in a pool.
yes.
And he's like, that's me. You're probably wondering what happened. Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's dead. He's been shot. And then it cuts to earlier where he's sitting at home doing some typing, I think. And these two guys from the car dealership show up.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
They're like, where's the money or where's the car? And he's like, I don't got either. The car's down in Miami or some shit.
Yeah, my friend borrowed it for a weekend
and they're
trip.
Like, well, you better have it back by tomorrow or we're going to break your eyes open.
So, he needs some money. So
he secretly has the car still. He's like, hee.
Yeah.
So he needs money. So he's a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm.
So he drives on down to the screenwriting to like
he goes to a Hollywood studio.
And he's like, listen, I got this idea for a movie.
It's about baseball.
It's called Bases Loaded. And I don't remember what the movie's about besides baseball.
Yeah. Not really important to the plot.
And the guy's like, oh, maybe. And then this lady comes in. She's like, oh, this fucking sucks. And then they introduce them. And she's like, ah, shit. Didn't mean to say that in front of you. My bad.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoopsie. And then he's like, well, can you just give me $300? I need it. And the film man's like, brr, brr, brr. He's like, the last time I took a loan, I bought a, what did he say? I bought real estate. And then I had to mortgage that real estate to pay for my life insurance. And he just starts going on. And then suddenly it just like fades out. And I think that's really funny. Yeah. It just fades to the next scene as this guy blabbers on.
And they fade in the next scene where he continues blabbering on in a different location.
Yeah.
And then basically the screenwriter gets upset because his producer friend, I assume the dude's a producer, I think he is. The dude he's trying to borrow money from is basically like, no, I'm not going to give you the $300. That would hurt your artistic integrity. The best scripts are written on an empty stomach. And the dude's basically like, fuck you, I need my money for my car.
Oh, yeah, he went to his agent.
It's his agent. That's what it was.
He went to the film guy and he said no. Then he went to his agent. He said no because he was like, oh, if you have no money.
Excuse me, just two extremely generic, similar-looking white guys. I thought they were the same
white rich guys that are just like,
they did look a lot alike.
And then he's like, well, maybe you need a new agent. He's like, fuck you. So then he starts driving, and then he gets spotted by the two repo men. And they start chasing him. He's like, da, da, da. And there's some pretty good shots of this car chase.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, whoa, dude. There's like a quick pan. I'm like, whoa, they knew how to pan in the 1950?
Yeah.
They knew how to pan so fast. I'm surprised somebody didn't break their leg. And they're like chasing him. He's like, oh. And does he get a flat?
Yeah, his tire blows out.
He gets a flat, so he like quickly like turns into this driveway, and they drive past without seeing him. And he's like, I'm gonna sneak in here, and he finds like this big old mansion that was built in like the 10s, 1910s, and he's like, oh, this looks to be abandoned, so I'll just park in this garage. And then he's like getting out, and then there's a butler that comes out, and he's like, hey, you're late, and he's like, what? I'm late for what? And he's like, come on in. And he's like,
well, the butler shows up after the old lady calls to him.
oh yes, the old lady calls to him from the window going, you're late!
I've been waiting. You.
And he's like, what? And the butler's like, come on in. He's like, what?
He's like, my car just has a flat tire. You're not expecting me. You don't know who I am. And he's like, go upstairs. He's like, fine.
So he's like, okay.
He goes upstairs, and there's this old woman mourning over a dead monkey.
Yeah, she's like, I need a coffin for my friend, and there's just a monkey. Just a dead chimpanzee.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, excuse me?
This was the scene where I was like, I think I'm really going to enjoy this movie. This is such a weird, like, setup.
Oh, I love it. Oh. There's a quote by Billy Wilder that was like, when asked how he decided to like film this monkey like funeral-esque scene, Billy Wilder said, just like any monkey burial scene. Like that's just what he said.
Well, yeah. How else are you supposed to do it?
And then he gets to talking to this lady. He finds out she's. Well, he recognizes her, I think. He's like, what? You're Norma Johnson. No, Norma something.
Yeah, you're all about.
And you're like, she was a big actress in the silent age, but now that they have talkies, nobody hires her. And she's like, no, but I still get fan letters every day. I used to get 13,000 in a week. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh. That many physical letters makes me physically ill. And she's like, I wrote a script, and it's
Desmond.
like, Norma Desmond. There we go. And she's like, I wrote a script, it's about a lady. I can't remember what's
I don't remember what her little plot
It's about a woman, I think it's based on a true story. It's about a woman that, like, tries to seduce, like, a holy man. And then he says no, so then she, like, has him killed or something.
Huh.
Something similar to that. And the guy's, like, reading through it, and he's like, this fucking sucks. And she's like, so what do you think? And he's like, it's all right. Could do with some editing. She's like, I don't trust any editors. She's like, how old are you? She, like, asks him some questions, and she's like, why don't you do it? And he's like, oh, I'm too much money. I charge $500 a week. And she's like, oh, that's fine. Woohoo! She's a very eccentric lady. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And she's like, okay, you can take a rest upstairs. And he's like, okay. So he goes to bed. And then he wakes up, and all his stuff is there.
Yeah.
They had, like, broken into his house and taken all his stuff out and
they were
brought it
asking
there.
him, like, where you live.
And he's like, what the fuck is going on? She's like, oh, I thought it would be easier. And he's like, you didn't ask me. And she's like, yes, but it's easier.
So he, of course, goes along with it.
He's like, money. So then it just gets into this, like, habit of he's slowly editing this, but she's really scrutinizing over everything. He tries to get rid of a scene where she's in it, and she's like, no, I need to be in that. And he's like, you don't need to be in every scene. She's like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, you're paying me. So he's, like, trying to edit it, but it still sucks. And she's just being a weirdo. She's like, she has, like, some people over to play some cards.
Yeah.
One of the people is Buster Keaton.
Yeah, they're all famous people.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Buster Keaton was the one I obviously recognized. I was like, oh, I know who that is.
And then, she slowly starts to fall from my boy Joe.
Yeah.
Joe Gills, I think. Gillis. Joe Gillis.
Yeah.
And he's like, gross.
Yeah, he's like, kind of a slimy character.
He's a dickhead.
Yeah.
He's like, yucky. Old women? What woman that's 19 years older than me yucky. But a woman that's 10 years younger than me? Yes, please.
Yeah. We'll get to that one when it comes up.
But he, like, she pretty much is like, I'll buy you anything you want. So he just starts sleeping with her pretty much.
Yeah.
She also threatens to kill herself a couple times.
Yeah.
She's like, if you don't sleep with me, I'm gonna die.
And it's like been explained to him that she's extremely suicidal, because there's one scene where he's like, yeah, why don't any of the doors in this house have locks?
And he's like, she has psychotic episodes occasionally.
More reason for the locks.
More reasons for locks, yes.
Yes. Don't want her coming into your room while she's having a psychotic episode.
That's true. So then what happens? He has like a falling out with her on New Year's. Because on New Year's...
she sets up like this elaborate...
big party. She has like a big band playing. She has this big party table with food and champagne. And he's like, when is everybody going to get here? It's already 10. She's like, who else? And he's like, the other guests. And she's like, this is just for us, my dear. And he's like, that's fucking weird.
Leading up into this scene, he precedes it with a line that's like, he basically warns the audience that this scene is coming. He's like, I'm probably an idiot for not seeing it earlier. It's like, yes, you are.
Yeah. But then he storms out with some of his stuff, and he goes to his friend's party. He's like, hey, can I stay here a couple weeks? And he's like, yeah, sure, my couch is set up.
Yep.
And then...
starts instantly hitting on his wife.
Yeah, on his fiancée, which is the woman from earlier, from the film studio that was like, this movie's shitty.
She's a reader, by the way.
She's a reader. Reading Rainbow.
Yes.
And then they get to talking. They almost kiss. But not really. And then he gets a phone.
Yeah.
He was waiting for a phone, and then he calls...
He calls
the house.
Yeah, he calls Max to get his stuff.
But Max is like, you fucking bitch.
You had a razor blade
He had a razor blade, which there aren't any in the house because Norma could, hurt herself. And she did. She slit her wrist, and she's dying, but not really. She's okay, but she's bleeding a lot. And he's like, I'm on the way. So then he goes back, and he's like, I guess I'm staying here again.
And he basically... this is the scene where he's like, all right, I guess I'm with you. Or at least that's what I had gotten out of it. Based on his actions, it's not anything that he says, but he, like, goes up and starts, like, caressing her face, and, like, they kind of do that, like, fade cut thing, like, right as they were, like, embracing like they were going to kiss.
Yeah.
And this leads me to, like, my biggest gripe with the film.
Too many white people.
Too many indecisive character moments from not just the main character, but kind of him and I can't remember the fiance's name.
Buggle.
Betty, isn't it like Betty something?
I think it's Betty.
Yeah. But, cause there are like scenes where she's like, I'm in love with my husband. And he's like...
Betty Schaefer,
that's what it was. Because there are scenes where, like, it seems like she doesn't really want him, and then just suddenly, like, a flip...
That's modern day love.
And she's like, I do want to be with you. And there are scenes where he's like, I want to be with you. I actually don't want to be with you. I want to be with this old lady. And then, like, there are scenes where he's like, I don't want to be with either of you. And it's like, make up your goddamn mind! What do you want?
That's modern day, dude. Like, people are indecisive, bro. No, but I get it. I was a little weirded out. I was like, why are they trying to kiss already? What's going on? She has a fiance.
I'd be fine with it if they did it a little bit more naturally and maybe, like, gave some, like, contextual
Give me
clues.
another scene. One extra scene, please.
At least give me some, like, shots where they're, like, looking at each other. You can tell that they're, like, thinking about it at least.
Nice ass.
Not just... scenes of pure dialogue where they say something and then the next scene they do something that completely goes against what they were saying. But, I don't know, like, that's probably, like, my biggest gripe with the movie, is just, like, the indecisiveness of, like, those two characters. And when it comes to the guy, I don't even mind that he's indecisive, because he seems like the kind of guy who would be indecisive. Oh, who do I want to marry? This hot chick that I really like, or this really rich old chick that I don't like, but I like her money? And you can see, like, I don't know. Like, it makes sense for his character, but I don't know. It just seemed a little random at times, and it's like...
Yeah, that was about my only problem, too.
Every time it seemed like they, like, set it on one path, the next scene they would just, like, take it the different path.
We going another way.
It's like, okay, I guess that's fine.
But then they... Oh, in that scene where they almost kissed, she also was like, I've been reading through your old stories, and I found one that was bad, but I found a good part in it. We should write together. He's like, no.
One of the things I got, and I really wish that they had played up more, is there's like a scene. It happens. I don't know if he's like agreed to start working. Yeah, I think it's right after the party when he like first comes across her, when he's like buying cigarettes for Norma in that shop. Or it might be at a later scene, but there's a scene where she kind of like snaps at him because she basically just wants to use Gillis as kind of like a launch for her own career.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have played into that a little more too.
Yeah. I just like that everybody's being the dickhead in the movie. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah. It makes for interesting character dynamics.
But, so yeah, he's living with Norma, but then he's leaving every night to go work on this screenplay with her. And they're like, oh, but then she finds out, and she ends up calling her.
Well, here's what happens, because the film starts to ramp up when he's like...
Does Max reveal it yet?
Here's what happens, because we skipped over a part. So Paramount is trying to get in contact with Norma.
Oh, yeah.
Because she, like, sent her script to an old director she used to work with. DeMille, yeah, who is a real director.
Yeah. Was it played by DeMille?
Yeah, it was.
Nice. Cecil B. DeMille.
Mm-hmm.
You might know him as the director of How to Train Your Dragon.
No. I don't know him as that.
I mean... Are you sure? You might know him as the director of the Ten Commandments movie.
Yeah, he did. He does quite a few.
That was projects. Which was why that a bunch of places around the country have Ten Commandments in front of them, like government buildings.
Yeah,
because Paramount. They talk about that in the Hail Satan documentary.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Huh.
Throwback.
Nice.
He also did The Greatest Show on Earth, which apparently is not good. Cleopatra, anybody?
The 5-hour one with Roddy McDowell?
The 2-hour and 10-minute one. That's it.
That 2 hours and 10 minutes compared to the 5-hour goodness? But basically...
It turns out that they only want her car.
So Max is like, oh, we're just not going to tell her. And she ends up, like,
sneaky,
going through a bunch of, like, plastic surgery and stuff that she's recovering from. While this is going on, Gillis is out writing the script with Schaefer a lot.
Yeah.
And then in, like, their final meeting where they're, like, writing that we see in the movie, Betty basically reveals that her fiance, who has been over in, like, Arizona, I think.
Yeah, they're working on a movie.
Yeah, they're working on a Western, which I really enjoy how she's explaining all the setbacks. Well, they get there and it's raining, so they rewrite the film.
It's raining for like a week straight, so they rewrite the film, they film half of it, and then it stops raining.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. But basically, she explains that her fiance wants her to move down there, or at least temporarily while they're making the film, and they can get married for super cheap down there.
$2.
Yeah, $2. And she's basically like, well, see, I should be happy, but I'm in love with you, Gillis.
He's like, I love him, but I'm not in love with him anymore, because I'm in love with you. Ooh.
Yeah, and he's like, I love you too, Betty. And then he's like, I don't remember what, but he ends up going back to the house after this scene. I think they just parted like they normally do.
And then he talks to Max.
And he talks to Max, and Max is
like... time for a twist.
Yeah, which I saw like 2/3 of the twist coming. I didn't see what it entirely encompassed, because I had suspected that her continued fan letters were like from him.
Yeah, so it's revealed that he was like one of the first directors that he worked with.
He was the person who discovered her when she was like 16.
And
also her first husband.
It was her first husband. I wasn't expecting the husband thing.
I wasn't expecting him to be the person who found her. But I like when it came to like the stuff like, oh, he's basically been like gaslighting her for the last like 25, 30 years. I was like, that one.
I also saw that
easily seen. And I figured he was a husband, or at least someone who...
I just thought he was like in love with her.
Yeah.
Which he was, but he was her first husband, and then he came back, he's like, can I be your butler now? And pretty much just get cucked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sweet. Bringing back the cucking.
So that's revealed.
And then he goes inside, and she's like...
Norma's been catching on to the fact that he's been like leaving every night. And she
found out the phone number.
Yeah, she found the script with Betty Schaefer's name on it in a previous scene.
So she's been like calling her, and she's finally home, and she's like,
do you know about what you think? Do you know what kind of man he really is?
He takes the phone, he's like, she's right, you should come here. 10,060 Peach Street Drive, or whatever.
Sunset Boulevard.
Peach
The name
Drive.
of the movie.
Peach Street Drive. It should have been called Peach Street Drive.
Yeah, but basically...
So then they come there, and she's like... He breaks it off with her. Because I think he's trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
And he's like... So he breaks it off with her. He's like, I don't really love you. You need to go to your husband.
And your fiancé, get married for $2.
So she leaves.
Yeah, and then Norma's all
like, I'm staying here with her. And she's like, oh, I'm so happy. And then he immediately goes to his room.
And starts
packing. He starts to leave. She's like, you can't leave.
I bought a gun.
And she's like, I'll kill myself. And I thought this was pretty good. And he's like, well, that's on you. Because that's a pretty big thing. Like, you gotta do that sometimes. People threatening, like, personal harm to keep you in a relationship is toxic as hell. Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, if someone, like, threatens suicide towards you in any situation, if you don't comply with them, even if you would, like, feel really bad, tell them to fuck off, because odds are, in most of those situations, from what I've tended to, like, see, it seems like they don't commit suicide afterwards. I mean, I'm not saying that's always, like, a sure thing. I'm sure there are, like, because people are sick. And they should probably seek medical help. They should
be getting help, but
you don't shoulder the responsibility just because someone like says something like that to you, because that's a really fucked position to put somebody in.
Yep. And then she pulls out a gun, and then he's walking, and then he dies. Yeah, she shoots him, and he falls in the pool.
And then
it cuts to the next morning.
Back where the film starts, and it's like, well, here you are again, and he's like narrating post-mortem.
I just had a giant zit on my back that just popped.
Ooh, nice.
Got my zit juice all over my back now. You want some?
No, I'm good. I got my own.
Blood. Antichrist. Anyway, so the police are there. They're like, what's she doing? She's just like at the makeup table. She's like in shock.
Yeah, she's not really answering any of their questions.
And then she hears that the cameras are there.
The news cameras, and she gets all excited.
And she's like, the cameras? And she's like still in shock, but she thinks it's the movie.
Yeah.
And Max is like, yeah, it's the movie.
And yeah, that's basically how the movie ends, with her basically just walking up to the cameras. You're left on the note assuming she's going to be arrested or
put
into a terrible 1950s mental health facility, because they were not good back then.
You could argue they're still not good.
They're still not good, but thankfully in the 70s, Ken Kesey wrote a book called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, after he had worked in some mental facilities. And
actually, I think Jack Nicholson wrote that book.
Oh, yeah, Jack Nicholson wrote that book. Not Ken Kesey, my bad. And kind of spread awareness on, hey, this is the kind of shit that tends to go on in these places. or shit very similar to this. And then people reading are like, wait, what the fuck goes on in these places? And got a little bit more attention shining on that. And I believe that book and that movie is why lobotomies are no longer legal over here.
Let's bring them back.
They worked like a certain percentage at the time. I mean, why not?
The guy who discovered it well, I watched a documentary about it was called The Lobotomist. It was like a
I honestly don't think I'd be able to handle a lobotomy documentary. Lobotomy is like one of the things that really, really just
the guy
gets
who
under my
like
skin.
invented it, like one of the guys that invented it wasn't a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a licensed surgeon.
It's a very pseudo-science
Yes, literally
concept.
all they do is
Hey,
they just stick something into your eye, like below your eye, and then just kind of jam it around.
Yep. And just, maybe we'll hit the part of the lobe of the brain that's bad and just stop that part.
Yeah.
Did you know that
Sucker
Kennedy's sister was like lobotomized?
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned about that after we watched Chappaquiddick. So I did a big
Chappaquiddick.
Kennedy bender after we saw that.
Yeah, so I really liked the movie.
So did I.
Thought it was brilliant.
I had some like minor gripes, which I
Yeah.
expressed earlier. I don't know if I'm necessarily a big fan of the end of the movie being in the beginning. It's a good, like, hooking point.
I thought I like it because I really like the narration in it. I really, I'm not always a fan of narration.
I felt like the narration made sense in this, especially since his character is a writer.
Yeah.
And
he's writing his own bill.
Yep. But yeah, I felt like the movie might have worked a little better if, like, maybe you didn't know where it was going. Like, it would have had a little bit more tension. But honestly, I could take it or leave it. Like, I also like how the movie starts as well. Like, it's one of those things that I'm kind of, like, split on where it's,
like, it's a good beginning, but could it be gooder?
Exactly. I don't know. I guess maybe if I read
I do really like the opening credits.
Yeah,
the song that plays.
Yeah.
Like,
and I really enjoyed, like, the shots of them, like, sweeping through the street and stuff. Like, I thought
there's a bunch of really good shots, and the soundtrack's really dope. It's by what's his name? Hold on, just 1 second. Hold on, I need to check. I think his name's Franz Max Ward. That's not even gonna be close. Franz Waxman.
Huh.
Waxman. He was a pretty big composer. He did like Rear Window.
Oh, okay.
Rebecca, Bride of Frankenstein. He did a bunch. He did 124 films, apparently, composition wise. So, yeah, but
yeah, no, I thought this film was great. What would you give it?
I gave it a 9. I think. I believe. Let me just check my notes here. All right. I gave it a 9.
I think I would also give this movie a 9.
Wow, that means our average is a 9.
What?
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, so
All right.
check out Sunset Boulevard if you haven't.
I'm going to go poop.
Okay.
And somebody called me while we were doing that, and then we'll talk about Dogtooth.
Woo!
Woo!
Hey guys, London's pooping. I thought I'd just record a little something for you. I don't know. I'm just kind of sitting out here. He's been in there for a while. I think he might be dead. Or jerking off. I don't know. Do you guys want some ASMR? I can give you some ASMR. Do you like the sound of that creaking table? I'm squatting over the table with the mic and my knees are just railing right into it. What kind of ASMR do you guys like? Do you like the sound of me scratching my hat against the mic? Does that sound good? Does that get your ears going? Huh? Alright, ASMR. Over.
Who let the dogs out?
Alright, Dogtooth, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I was really excited for this one. This one's been on my watch list for a really long time.
It has also been on mine.
And, I enjoyed it. It probably wasn't my favorite out of his movies from what I've seen. I might enjoy it, like, way more among, like, future rewatches, but...
I wouldn't say I enjoyed it.
What?
That's the end of mine.
Like, you didn't like the movie?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
There were scenes I liked. Before we get into anything, I'll just say what I liked real quick, or what I didn't like. I thought the movie's only like an hour and a half. I thought the first, like, half an hour was relatively boring. Like, there was, like, some weird stuff, and there was a couple bits of interesting dialogue, but it was just mostly boring. About, like, 35 minutes in, stuff actually started happening that was, like, engaging, like, more interesting dialogue and more just things happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would probably put this on the lower totem of, like, what I've seen of his body of work.
Yeah, because I've seen...
Because...
I think we've seen this... Or did you see his first film?
I've seen his first film, so I've got one film above you.
Yeah. But we've also seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, Lobster, and The Favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I've seen My Best Friend is the name of his first movie, which is surprisingly hard to find. I had it on my old drive, but then I broke it, and I haven't been able to find another copy of it.
Sad. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, it was mostly just that first, like, bit, because the rest of the film was, like, fine, but it was like, I enjoyed most of the rest, but it never really... It was just kind of an okay movie to me. Like,
yeah,
there was some really funny moments. I really like that the Yorgos Lanthimos, like, weird kind of humor is present even in this like kind of earlier film. And there were a lot of moments, because this film's pretty much just about a dysfunctional family that, like, lives together.
So
dysfunctional to psychotic evil family.
It's kind of like Brigsby Bear, from what I gathered, where it's like the father doesn't let the kids out of the property.
Yeah, for reasons.
Yeah, did they ever...
No, which I like that part. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I like just a self-contained... He's just like, we're not going to let you out. So, this is the entire plot of the movie. There's a family of a mom, a dad, 2 daughters, and a son.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly another son that's no longer there.
Yes.
They live in a gated off house. They're obviously pretty wealthy. He goes to work every day, but they always stay inside. They're very afraid of the outside. And he never lets them out. He hires somebody from his work to come sleep with his son.
Mm-hmm.
And she also has sex with his daughter as well, because she wants to.
Do they have sex, or does she just...
Oral sex.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sex. Oral sex is sex. It's fine.
Okay.
Once you're as sexy as me.
Oh.
Yeah, because the son's like, I don't want to eat you out.
Yeah.
I'm a baby.
The
like,
son
fuck you.
is 100% gay.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
Because there's, like, the 2 contextual clues I picked up on leading to that is that scene, because she's like, what, does it, like, freak you out or something? He's like, no, I just don't want to do it. I just want to fuck your pussy like I did yesterday. And then there's, like, a scene later in the movie, I don't remember what specific part, but he crawls into bed with his parents and he, like, starts spooning his dad.
Yeah, his dad specifically.
And it's like, oh, yep, that pretty much itched that suspicion.
So she has the daughter, but and then that's most of the movie is just that, and then later on, the daughter starts acting up.
Yeah.
And then the end of the film, she beats herself with a weight, like a 10-pound weight, or probably like a 5-pound weight. She like breaks out some of her teeth, I think.
Yeah.
She just starts hitting herself in the face with it. And then...
Because they think they can't leave safely unless they're in the car, and their dad said that they can learn how to drive
when they lose their dog tooth and regrow it.
Yes.
They can leave when they can lose their dog tooth, but they can't learn to drive until they regrow it.
Yes.
Now, you can take the last scene as like her being like, I'm just going to lose it purposely, or her being like, my dad's a liar. Which I kind of got it as she's like, my dad's a liar, and he's been like keeping me here.
Yeah, because she starts
like acting out.
Because as soon as
does she read some of the books? Or were those books that she got from?
No,
Christina,
she got a copy of Jaws and Rocky.
Yes. So she starts seeing because she
reenacts like the shark scene and starts like beating
so she starts seeing glimpses of like the outside world through this.
Yeah.
So she suspects that, the world's a bigger place. So I think she beat herself up to like try to get people mad at her dad. And then she hides in the trunk. And then he's like, where the fuck is she? And everybody's looking for her, and he's like, I better go out there. So he gets in the car and he starts driving. And the movie ends.
Yeah, he like... Because she disappears at night, and he's asleep, but the other sister who develops like a licking fetish at some point, like around the middle of the movie, wakes the dad up because she's just going to town licking him. And then he goes into the bathroom and sees like this a dog tooth and a bunch of blood all over the place. And he's like, oh fuck. And he goes out and he checks everywhere. She's in the trunk of the car. He like runs out into the field and he goes back in and is just like chilling with his distraught wife for the rest of the night. And then morning comes and you see him drive to like this like warehouse or somewhere kind of abandoned. He goes inside the building. We get a nice shot of the trunk not moving, implying that maybe she's alive in there. Maybe she died overnight.
I thought she died.
Never know.
Didn't seem like a very airtight trunk. Seemed like an older car.
Maybe she bled to death from her missing tooth.
Fuck, dude. A kid loses a tooth. Cover it up.
Yeah. I don't know. This movie.
There's things in the movie that I really like the idea of. I like this thing where like you don't know what happened to the other brother.
Yeah.
Like because it's pretty much implied that he left, like he ran away.
Yeah.
But the dad used it as a tool to like keep them like
scared.
Close. They even go so far as they try to communicate it with him by like throwing notes outside or throwing things to him outside, because I guess they think he's right outside the gate or that he visits every night to check on them.
Yeah.
But a cat gets in to the house,
and they've apparently never seen a cat.
They've never seen a cat, so they freak the fuck out.
And the son
gets garden shears and cuts it in half.
Yeah.
And the dad's like, oh, what the
well, might as well use this as
so he puts fake blood all over his clothes and cuts all his clothes up. And
he's like, your brother's dead.
Yeah, he's like, I tried to save your brother, but this is what happens when you leave before you're ready. A cat kills you. So then he teaches all his family to bark like dogs to scare away the cats. And that was a good scene.
Yes.
I like the scene. They're all just on all fours barking like dogs. Pretty funny scene. Pretty ha-ha. Ha-ha, funny Yorgos Lanthimos scene. So I like the idea of this brother being like, oh, is he alive? Is he dead?
Mm-hmm.
I like some of the interactions between the kids. But like, the dad and the mom never really had any good interactions. The mom just didn't have any good scenes, in my opinion. Like,
yeah,
and that like I also don't think like two sisters really added to anything.
sometimes I would get them mixed up, and I'm like, only one of them really does anything in the movie.
I never got them mixed up. It's really only the one that we need to focus on, the one who starts like becoming aware of the outside.
So like the only thing the other one really does is get the licking fetish and then licks her dad awake, and then the dad's like, where'd the other daughter go, you know?
Yeah, well, I feel like she kind of serves the point that like if one of the kids picks up on something, the rest of them are eventually going to pick up on it too. Because it's very trickle down, like when the one sister, because how she gets the licking fetish is, so the main sister, who is the one who eventually leaves.
So
Christina, who is the one who works with the dad, who comes and has sex with the son every so often.
She wants to get licked in the pussy so she can actually come. So she pays the daughter
a sparkling headband
to lick her vagina. And she does it. And then the daughter's like, I guess this is just how it works. And she's like, if you lick my shoulder, I'll give you this or whatever. I don't know what it was. So they start doing that because they just think that's like an exchange. That's just like something people do.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly it. They're just trying to mirror people they see because they don't see anyone. And their mom doesn't do anything. So the only person they can really mirror is their dad. So anyone else that they interact with, like Christina, they're going to copy everything she does.
Yeah.
See, like, that's really smart. Like, there's some really smart things in the film. Mm-hmm. But just the film's kind of boring. And there's just, like, there's some really good shots, too.
See, I don't know if I found it boring.
I think it's mostly just the first 30 minutes I thought was boring.
Yeah, it's a slow movie. It's very, like, slice of these people's life.
Which is, I usually love slice of life films, but this one I'm just like, nah.
I definitely liked it more than you did. I
didn't hate it. Like, I also didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was pretty middle of the road.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised. I thought I was going to really like, because I really liked pretty much all Yorgos Lanthimos films I've seen. Mm-hmm. I thought The Favorite was brilliant. I really honestly, I thought The Lobster was probably his worst film I've seen, and I loved The Lobster. Like, I thought it was great.
I think The Lobster is my favorite of his films. Either that or Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Nico's favorite, Killing of a Sacred Deer, Lobster. Dogtooth.
Okay. I'd probably... Yeah, I'm just very nostalgic towards The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer because those were like the first two I saw.
Yeah, I saw The Lobster before I knew who Yorgos Lanthimos was, and I liked it. Maybe I need to rewatch it. It's been a while.
I think The Lobster is really funny. Like, I think it's his funniest movie, which is probably why I like it the most.
I do think The Killing of a Sacred Deer has some really funny moments.
No, I
mostly because of like how just strange and like absurd it is.
Yeah, that's what I like about all of
Yorgos Lanthimos movies. Even though I'm kind of like shit talking this movie, I just want you to know Yorgos Lanthimos is a brilliant director, and he's very unique in a lot of ways.
You can tell that this was like definitely like a stepping stone movie.
Yeah.
Because...
I think that's another reason I didn't really like it as much, because there's a lot of scenes that remind me of The Lobster or like A Killing of a Sacred Deer, but just worse.
Yeah.
So, and then once you've seen a movie that just does all these things better, it's like, well...
Yeah.
There is a dog in the movie, too, that he goes to like the pound to see, and it's in a 5-step training program.
There's also a part where they tell the children that to expect a boy, a girl, and a dog. Because the mother's going to give birth to all three.
The mother got pregnant again.
Yeah.
And she's like, if you are good children, maybe I won't give birth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Never mind. That was a good scene. So mom had one good scene.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily think the mom's like a bad character in the sense where like I think like
I don't think she was a bad character. I just think that the film didn't spend enough time with her.
Yeah, I think a little more time.
And I think it's the same thing with I think the other daughter. Like, I'm not mad that these characters exist. I just the film didn't dedicate enough time to them.
Yeah.
Instead, it was mostly just look at me, I'm the dad. Look at me, I'm the son. Look at me, I'm the lady, look at me, I'm the daughter. It's just those four.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think this film would have been much better if it had, like...
A rap track?
As much as it might... I don't know if it would necessarily be better if it was
There's
like
a
half
great
an hour
dance
longer.
scene.
There is a great dance scene. That scene's pretty fucking great.
That was the night that she ran away, right?
Yeah.
Before she broke everything, she did a big dance.
Yeah, and then the mom, like, freaks out on her, and then after that scene is where she does, like, the Dogtooth thing.
Yeah, she's like, fuck you, I'm leaving. I'm hiding.
Yeah.
But she just does this very awkward dance, and it just goes on a long time, and it's very funny.
Yeah. I think the film probably, like, what the ending insinuates is that if she doesn't die in that trunk, because she obviously can't get out since she closed the trunk on herself.
I mean, there's a lot of cars that have self-releases on the inside.
That's true. But, yeah, I think...
the trunk is the dog, and she is the tooth.
I think that, because it doesn't seem like she knows that, because obviously, like, the car's parked there for a while, and she makes, like, no effort to get out once it's, like, parked in somewhere. And, there's, like, no indicator that she's, like, in there. It just shows, like, the still trunk. So my idea is that, like, either she's just slowly gonna, like, starve to death and die in there, or the father is gonna figure out she's in there, figure out what she did, and then probably kill her.
Yeah, he does,
Because,
he does beat her a couple times.
He beats her a couple times, and
he
then
also beats Christina with a VCR.
Yeah, that's the scene I was gonna bring up.
And then it says, I hope your children are disabled, or something like that. And
he says something along the lines of, I hope, like, something comes and fucks up your family, like you fucked up mine.
Yeah.
And it's just like, ugh. What a terrible fucking
It's
person.
like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of ideas I like in the film, I just don't think they panned out as well as I would have liked.
Yeah.
Not to say it was a bad film, just pretty average.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie. I love seeing just progression, like, director progressions.
Yeah, no, I do too.
And
I'm definitely glad I watched this movie. And is that, so have you seen all of his films now?
no.
There's not a ton, right?
He's not a ton over here. He's got more Greek movies, though.
Ah.
Because he's got, like, Kimieta or whatever it's called.
Oh, yes.
And then there's also Alps.
Oh, yes, Alps.
So you need those two?
I think there might be one more.
Yorgos, Lanthimos. That's such a great name.
Yeah.
Probably because it rhymes. Let's see. So he did Alps. You Saw My Best Friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just Alps and Kineta.
Oh, are those really the only two I'm missing?
He did a short film called Necktie that's 2 minutes long.
Cool.
And he did a short film called Mimic that's 12 minutes long. But yeah, that's it. So you're almost there.
Oh, cool.
You're almost there, buddy.
Oh, fuck, I might have to
Pal.
accelerate. I heard that, I don't know which one I heard, but I know that, I think it's Alps that I heard is not very good.
Alps has a 3.2 on Letterboxd. Kineta has a 2.5.
Alright, it was probably Kineta then.
Dogtooth has a 3.8. I would not give this film a 7.6.
What would you give this?
I gave this film a 5.
Huh.
You know.
I give it a 7.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at you, Mister. I'm gonna give this film a 7. I'm just fucking with you.
I mean, I did give this film a 7.
I mean, maybe on rewatch I'll like it a little more, but it's just...
Yeah,
I think if I had watched this film first out of his filmography, I might like it a little more, but just because I think that, like, there's some techniques and ideas that he just re-implemented, but much better in them.
Mm-hmm.
That it just didn't feel as good in this film because I watched it later. But and that's what's sad is I really did like some of the shots in it. Like there's really nice like natural lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, perfect. Especially because this building they filmed in has tons of big windows. So I'm like, sexy.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the lighting in Funny Games.
Haven't seen. Which one, the original or the remake?
The remake.
Which is just the better version.
Yeah, I haven't seen
the original. Wow, so. What the fuck? What a poser. Yeah, so
I need to.
We did it. So our average for that film's a 6.
Yeah.
So pretty good. You should watch it. Even though I didn't like it very much, I still think you should watch it. Especially if you're a fan of Yorgos Lanthimos. I think you should just watch every film in the world.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that one.
I mean, I'm a crazy person, so. Thomas, you got classic films for next week. What are we watching?
It's a little movie from 1971.
Oh, dude. No way. No way, dude.
Yeah, way, dude.
Who? Okay, I'm ready.
Alright, it's called Johnny Got His Gun.
Dude! That was my pick for next week.
Whoa!
That's not true.
Earlier.
By Dalton Trumbo?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who he is either, but...
Oh, that's the only film he directed.
This film is most famous for being in the music video for Metallica's One. It's an anti-war film.
Oh, shit! Dude!
So, yeah, I've always been curious about it.
Dalton Trumbo was in the Hollywood 10.
Oh, yeah?
The group that refused to, testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee. So he got blacklisted because people thought he was a communist.
Oh, nice.
And then he made this movie.
He made this movie in 1971.
So he was done being blacklisted, I guess. I don't know. Because that committee was in 1947. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it probably blew over a little bit.
Wow, Bruce Campbell was a producer. Not that Bruce Campbell, but...
This movie was made about 8 years before the release of The Evil Dead, so it's not the same Bruce Campbell one.
Wow, Bruce Campbell. Okay, so it's an anti-war film?
Yeah, it's about
It's about Joe.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just only watching films with characters named Joe now.
All right. Well, it's to make up for the fact that some sad news, guys. It's not canceled, but it's going to be on hiatus for a while.
Yeah, the Boyle agenda until we figure out a good day to record with it.
Yeah.
So I know you're all very sad, especially you, Joe, listening to this right now at probably 10 a.m. on the 16th of September. Hello.
Sorry, Joe. But we'll figure out a time to shoot with you.
Notice how all my
films off his list. Notice how all your films what?
Have been Asian films.
I have noticed that. I've noticed that you like a lot of Korean and Japanese movies, which that's fine.
I just want to look through them real quick. So
World of Kaneko.
World of Kaneko was Japanese. Creation of the Humanoids was American.
Yes.
Stoker was by a Korean director. El Topo, that was in Spanish. And then The Goddess was Chinese. And then we watched Hanagatami, which was Japanese. And my pick today is a Japanese film.
Oh, boy. How many... I only have The Housemaid, right? I think that's the only...
It's just the Korean one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're the I guess we'll just stay in America lane. I'm like, well, I'll do something.
Yeah, because we didn't just watch a Greek movie.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm picking a Takeshi Miike film.
Okay. What does he direct?
Have you seen... he's done a bunch of big stuff like Audition, if you've heard of that one.
Mm-mm.
Or he did Ichi the Killer.
I've heard of that one.
I was thinking about picking Ichi the Killer, but that's too well known. What?
Oh. You can keep going. I'll segue back to what I was going to say later.
So I'll do your thing. I'll go this or this, okay?
Okay.
Q or B?
Q as in 10? I'll go with that.
Q is in the letter Q.
Q, it's ichi, ni, son, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi. Q is 9. I know how to count to 10 in Japanese. I learned it in kindergarten because they gave us a choice to...
Ichi, ni, san, yon, go.
No, each. I've seen it, but it's...
I took Japanese 1 and 2 in high school.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I've heard some people say ichi, and I've heard some people say each.
That's like, oh, do you each?
Yeah.
Does your back...
Is your back ichi or each? Ich, ni, son, shi, go.
Here, I'll just tell you one of them is called Visitor Q. One of them is called Blight of the Immortal.
I'm going to go with Visitor Q because I want to read Blade of the Immortal at some point.
Oh, is that a
manga?
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently the movie's really good.
Visitor Q?
Well, both of them. The Blade of the Immortal movie's also very good, apparently. It sounded like, I know they fight like thousands of people, like one guy.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, it's like Dynasty Warriors, the movie. But Visitor Q, our friend Michael, he's recommended it to us.
Okay.
To me specifically. He said it's really fucking weird. So yeah, Visitor Q. Let's see where you can watch it, and let's see where you can watch the other one as well. Visitor Q, Eleanor Rigby. Visitor Q, where are you? Watch Visitor Q. Where can you watch Visitor Q? Good luck watching Visitor Q. I don't know where to find it, so good luck. Find it and watch it. And then what was yours again? It was called Johnny Got His Gun?
Yeah.
Johnny Copahola Back on Board? There was a remake of Johnny Got His Gun in 2008.
Oh.
You can rent Johnny Got His Gun on Amazon or Vudu for $3. Or, if you just happen to find it in the mall or in a trash can.
You might find it in your oven.
In the oven, there are plenty of options.
You can check a lion's mouth. Might be in there.
Johnny Got His Gun. Well, apparently. Oh, no, this doesn't. Oh, Johnny Got His Gun. There was a live stage version.
Oh.
In 2008. Anyway, so yeah, those are the two movies. Visitor Q and Johnny Got His Gun. So.
Yeah. Something I wanted to bring up. It's not like a dire fact, but the little sister in Dogtooth, her actress passed away a couple of years ago.
Sad.
Yeah, it's, I had heard the actress from this movie had passed away, and I thought it was the main one, the older sister.
But it's not. It's the other sister.
It's the younger one. I just
Speaking of news about actors that have passed, you ever watched the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series?
Yeah.
The voice actor for Lord Zed just died today.
Oh.
He was like 75 now, so who cares? Just kidding. So yeah, that's a little sad. In better news, Knives Out just got its pre-screenings, and apparently
that's
the new Rian Johnson film, and it's getting like universal praise. People are super pumped, and I'm pumped, and yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, and Roman Polanski won a Silver Lion, the Venice Film Festival. So fuck that bitch. Yeah. And Joker won the Golden Lion.
Interesting.
I'm gonna become the Joker now.
Todd Phillips is. I'm curious.
I think the movie will be pretty good, but will it be deserving of a Golden Lion?
See, I'm interested to see if the movie is actually good or if it's just tricked everyone with some
meta
depressing lines and some decent cinematography.
I think either way, Joaquin Phoenix. It's probably all Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, well, I can say just from the trailers, the shots look pretty good.
Yeah.
They've got a good cinematographer.
Let's check
before we leave, let's check who's the cinematographer on Joker. By the director of the Hangover trilogy.
Yeah, because I gotta say, it looks good. Joaquin looks really good.
Produced by Bradley Cooper.
Oh, wow. But
Lauren Sher.
But I gotta say,
What?
nothing story-wise from the trailers has really blown me away. Other than the fact that this is like a Joker origin story, from the two trailers I've seen, it really hasn't indicated much of a plot.
It looks like Lauren Sher is just stepping up his game.
Okay.
Because he's done mostly just like cinematography for like these weird little comedy movies, like the Hangover movies. He did do Godzilla King of the Monsters this year, which I didn't see, so I can't comment on the cinematography, but he did the cinematography for Paul.
Oh. Huh. Yeah.
And I Love You Man, which I love that movie. So.
Oh.
And the composer, Hildur Gjarnadóttir.
Oh, of course. How could
Gjarnadóttir. He was the composer for the Chernobyl series.
No,
I'm going to start introducing all the movies we watch by like just a random fact. Like instead of being like, yeah, we watched Dogtooth today by Yorgos Lanthimos. Instead, I'm going to go like, we watched. Hold on. Calm down. Wait. Hold on.
Hurry up, I'm gonna breathe.
From the sound designer of the film Suntan comes Dogtooth.
Huh. Pretty good introduction.
From the editor of Monos comes Dogtooth.
Hey, thanks for watching. Watch those films. We'll see. Oh, don't forget, if you got any questions, put them in the comments. We'll read them next week on Screen Wing.
So tell your grandma to leave a comment!
Yeah, I want your grandma's place.
Bye.